Hello and welcome to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, founder of Grace and Ease Productions, and I'm excited to bring you Samantha Kozuch today because she's a badass. Two, she's the creator of the Maniscripting Journal, and hopefully I'm saying that properly. She'll correct me if I'm not, as well as the same method. And through this, she has absolutely experienced over a decade of transformations and changes in her life throughout her entrepreneurial career that just started right out of college. So she considers herself like as an ex-influencer, but a social media business coach and now running an e-commerce business. But I'm really excited to dive into what is this manuscripting thing? What is the power behind manifesting in general? And frankly, how is she doing all of this while scaling and growing her company from, starting out to creating multiple seven figures? So please help me welcome to the stage, Samantha. What's up, Samantha?
Hi, Shay. I'm so excited to be here and dive into everything today.
Oh my God, we have so many fun things to talk about. I'm already getting goosebumps because of it.
Yes, me too.
But I would love for you to, kind of maybe start us out of what really got you onto the journey of manifesting and starting out, what got you there to then creating a multi-million-dollar e-commerce business.
Well, it was in my mid-20s when the whole thing about manifesting really came into my sphere. And that was after a really traumatic experience without going into like super detail of like how, the why and everything. But basically in my mid-20s, I got arrested. And it wasn't because I was doing something wrong, believe it or not, but the whole situation, I had been ignoring red flags throughout for many years at that point. Basically, those messages from the universe and source about like, hey, stop doing this, you're not in alignment. And at the time, I had no idea what any of that was. But of course, after a traumatic experience, whenever you have one, it's a wake-up call. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I had really had that time to be like, what the F am I doing with my life? Like, even though I was making really good money, I had companies at the time and doing really well, but a lot of it just wasn't in alignment. And at that point, I had spent a lot of time at home because I was kind of ashamed of what had happened. Mm-hmm. And that's when I watched The Secret for the first time, because even at that point, there wasn't the online space that we have today around changing your life and manifesting and goal setting, all that. I think it was just Oprah and Tony Robbins at that time. I'm in my mid-30s now, so this was about 10 years ago. So there wasn't many resources to kind of turn to. And when I watched that movie, I was like, oh my God, we actually create our reality? What? You can just think about things and write things down and create vision boards, and it can actually happen. This was truly my first experience with it. And so I did that. And I created the vision board and I wrote down all the things that I wanted for my life. And then all of a sudden I just started taking action on it. And from there, it really changed my life because I saw time and time again, if I wrote it down, if I visualized it, I started meditating and doing all of those self-development things. Ultimately, it literally started changing so many things in my life for the better. And I was accomplishing more in my life. So for many years, I was just doing that. And from there, that's kind of where we got to today.
That's amazing. So you mentioned The Secret. So funny thing, I also love The Secret. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. In some respect, we'd already been living a lot of it through my parents and their teaching of it. Just in general. But the funny thing is, I did the same thing. I would put the vision board together and started on my journey. And now looking backwards, a lot of interesting things happened. So one of the people in The Secret that I absolutely resonated with, and I don't know who it was for you, but for me, it was Lisa Nichols.
Yes.
Right? Freaking powerful woman.
Mhm.
Now let go into business and go into different businesses and so on and so forth. Right before pandemic, she became my client, my event client. Right?
Wow. What? That's unreal. I mean, of course,
Right.
but wow.
Right. And so
Wow.
I also attribute it back to the manifesting. Now, I didn't necessarily have her on my vision board specifically,
Mhm.
but who she was and who she represents and the energy that she brought, that's the client that I wanted to attract into my space and into my world. So
Yes.
absolutely. And then it's like you kind of set it and then let it do its thing, right? And then it ends up showing up when you least expect it sometimes, right?
Yep.
When you're doing all of the things. So I just had to say, like, definitely powerful for my life as well to engage and interact with it because of those teachings. So based on manifesting and what you've learned, like how has it changed your life, as well as like how does this manuscripting thing come into play? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So how it changed my life, it just started working really quickly. Cause I think especially, for example, after what I considered hitting my rock bottom, you have all those thoughts come in, right? Of like just doubt and shame, and you feel guilt or whatever those negative, lower vibrational thoughts are, right? Whether you're sad, depressed, all of those were coming in. And then really with manifestation and just learning about it, where it's not this just like woo-woo spiritual thing, it's literally just energy. It's power of the mind. It's energy, and learning about, hey, like if you're sad, depressed, angry, all of those things, well, what are you going to attract more of? More of that. So the first part of it was really becoming conscious of my thoughts. And then from when you're conscious of your thoughts and you're constantly thinking, not necessarily like I always have to be positive, but you can instantly flip the switch of like being really upset or sad about something. Hey, let's reframe that. Let's reframe that to gratitude. Let's reframe that to being more positive and working through things and not staying in that funk for too long, but really just turning, it's mindset work, right? So that's when I really understood how manifestation works and what it takes to really just like change your life ultimately. So with the manuscripting process coming in, that happened during the pandemic, actually. So about 6 years after, doing this process for myself, seeing results all the time, I didn't really share with it anything about it online because doesn't everybody do this? Doesn't everybody meditate and journal and manifest and do vision boards and all of that? Like, I thought it was just so like, I feel like I'd probably just been doing it for so long. I thought everybody did it.
Right.
And of course, the personality I was online, like I was a fitness influencer, then I was a social media coach, then I was an online business coach, where all of those areas I didn't really dabble and share that kind of side of me. And so when the pandemic hit, all of my clients were panicking. Everyone was like losing jobs, losing income, losing money, negative news everywhere, right? And I was like, okay, well, how can I teach my community to not necessarily not be affected, but how to stay positive and continue growing their businesses and know that it's going to be okay. So I just started sharing my morning routine and my process of what I do with basically what manuscripting is today. And the feedback I got from that was just insane. Like immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I have something here. So from there, it was just like that instant download, like, you have to put this, like create a system and a method for this. And it wasn't going to be an online digital download. Like it had to be a physical book because I use a journal every morning, right? Like it had to be a physical product. And that's how it was birthed.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's this process of journaling and manifesting together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So for the people that are like, okay, well, I've tried that. It doesn't really work.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
How do
Well,
we
first
actually make sure it works?
Yeah. So it is it's not a big process. It's just learning and understanding the energetics of what manifesting really is. A lot of people believe and think, and why they usually don't think it works is because they think, oh, I can just write down my wishes to this magic universal genie and just wait for it to fall in my lap. And that's not how manifesting works. It's not just writing down your dreams. It's writing down and getting really clear on what it is that you want, and then taking inspired action on those things, because whatever you believe in, whether it's source, God, universe, insert that higher power of who you are co-creating with. But until you actually start taking action towards those things, source can't give you opportunities for you to then manifest those goals and desires. So it's a co-creation process. It's not like I'm going to write it down and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for it to fall in my lap. It doesn't work like that. And I think that's why people get so hung up on one part of manifestation. That's usually a big one. And then there's multiple reasons why something might not be manifesting for someone, but then it's like the mindset work. It's like, okay, well, you can say, I want to have $1 million business. But if you're over here and you're feeling scared, like, oh, well, who am I to charge $10K for a client, or, no one's going to buy from me ever. Well, you're literally repelling that financial stuff from coming in. So it's all about really understanding how manifestation works, the energetics behind it, the self-development and mindset work behind it. Like, there's so much that you have to become aware of. And that's what makes it really exciting for me to be a leader and a teacher in this space, because it's incredible to see breakthroughs with people where it finally clicks and they're like, oh my God, it's like you broke the code of the game of life. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying this. I want to know, like, let's pull back the curtain, right? Because, you've been doing this for not like years and years and years and years and decades, right? You've been doing this for a fairly short amount of time. And yet you've been able to create a $1 million e-commerce business. So if you wouldn't mind kind of pulling back the curtain and sharing with us, how have you been able to utilize what it is that you're doing and how you're manifesting and utilizing the journal to actually create the business that you have now? And then, if there was something that showed up that was like, oh, well, yeah, we bumped into this problem and I really had to dive back into it. Tell us some of that too.
Yeah. So from the get-go of starting this company, like, I had an online business coaching business, right? Like, I was doing very well. I had a lot of clients that were paying. I had wait lists. I had all of that. I had just finished putting the systems in place to like really get it going to scale. And when the pandemic hit and the download happened for the Maniscripting Journal, like, oh, it's time to birth this. Like, honestly, I was pissed. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I just like really figured it out in my online coaching business to like grow it and scale it. And it's like doing well. And I was honestly pissed. Like, I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Because there have been multiple times in my life since graduating from college where there was a pivot, like literally me not going to med school after college. That was an intuitional hit. And at the time, I didn't understand it. And I was really letting a lot of people down. I was going against the grain. Like, I've had so many of these moments in my life where I received the thought and the download, and I'm like, oh no, like, this is it. So I have already felt in my body what that feels like. And that's like my biggest piece of advice to anyone. Like, if you want to grow and scale your business, whether it's your personal brand, company, whatever it is, it has to be in full alignment with you and your beliefs and what you want to do. And so when this happened for me, that's how I first of all knew, like, oh shit, this is going to be big. So I just took immediate action on it. It wasn't like, oh, that's a good idea. Okay, well, I'm busy with like my current container right now that ends in a couple months. Like, I'll do it then. I already knew what this is. And I'm like, I have to take action on it immediately. So from there, I literally started, I've never created a physical product. I've never manufactured a product. I've never done anything like that. So I immediately, went to YouTube. I talked to, luckily my fiance, he has a couple e-commerce companies. So he's never done a journal before, but he was like, oh yeah, we could totally do this. Like, no problem. Like, we're going to just learn how to do it. I YouTubed everything as far as like how to manufacture, how to import, how to set up all these different things with like Shopify and all the tech and stuff like that. So I just took immediate action on it to really just get it set up and going and get my first sample. And then from there, like I just kind of kept going with it without really knowing what it was going to be, whether it was going to be a success or not. I didn't know, but my excitement and that feeling of, oh my gosh, like this is it. I took action on it, and that's what created its success.
That's amazing. So when you put on your CEO hat and you're in an everyday situation, and you've got team and you've got warehouses and you've got all of these things kind of like coming at you, how are you still staying in the moment and utilizing these manifesting principles to continue to lead the company forward?
Yeah, it's definitely been not easy. I mean, we launched this company, an e-commerce physical brand company, during a pandemic where everyone experienced, not just us, where, containers were delayed by 3 months. Like we manufacture our journals overseas. Like those were like some of the biggest things that immediately happened, where I really had to be like, okay, this isn't because it's not supposed to happen. It's because I just have to be patient. This is really kind of like testing me and my business. So whenever anything bad happens, whether something goes wrong with manufacturing, whether we have not so nice customers or feedback or trolls on the internet attacking our brand, which just happens to everyone, it really puts me back in a place of just really thinking about that woman that I'm going to help. Like that's truly what gets me through those things. And also, I immediately turn back to the practice of manuscripting, because in the journal, the daily morning pages that you do every day, you list your gratitudes, you list what you need support with, you list 3 action items that you're going to take today, you list what you're celebrating that day. And then of course, you're writing out a journal page of just like all those things that you want to call in and manifest and set goals for. So how I use it is, at this point, it's been something that I've created into my lifestyle. Like, and that's another thing. Manifesting is not something you just do once a year at the beginning of the year when you set your goals and create your vision board. It's a freaking lifestyle. And I think that's another big misconception, or people just don't understand. It's not a little exercise that you do and then you go off with your life. No, you have to change almost everything about yourself, because where you are today, right now, and what you have, your thoughts, your actions, your feelings, and everything, like, is a result of what you have. Does that make sense? Like, so whenever anything negative comes up, I just always come back to like, okay, well, I need this experience in order to grow, evolve. And I understand that. And then I turn back to just going into gratitude.
Well, and I think I was reading something online. You might have like a job opening or something right now. And in the description, it was something along the lines of, I don't know, somebody in the warehouse, and it's like, you love putting packages together, and like share a little bit behind how you grow your team and what it is that you look for, and how we're manifesting and drawing them in, as well as, calling them in to probably also utilize a lot of these practices, or already doing it themselves.
Yeah, that is huge when it comes to hiring for us. Like, I think at one point, and I think I might have recently deleted it because I didn't want it to come across as, I don't even know, like in a bad way, but I literally had on our employment opportunities page, like, we don't want to see your resume. I don't want to see a resume. I don't care what you've done in the past. I don't care where you went to school. I don't care about any of that stuff. And I want to know who you are today as a human, What are your goals? What gets you excited? I don't want to hire you for a job or a role that you're just here to show up and get a paycheck. It's not the energy that I want in my team. It's not the energy that I want growing this company, because those types of employees, like, they're not going to stick around for a long time. They don't care about your company. They don't care about your business. So I want the people coming into my company are just as excited. And usually the people that I hire are the ones that actually reach out to me and are like, I love your company. I love your brand. Is there any opportunities for me? And those are the people that I bring in. Like, one of my current employees, my most recent hire, she's in charge of customer service and community management. And she had actually been emailing me for over a year saying hi. And she's been one of my customers since day one of launching the brand, which is now, we're heading into our third year at the end of this year. And, she was constantly, every couple months, like, hi, is there any positions available? I love the company. I love what you do. Let me know, make it work. And now finally, like 2 months ago, I was like, we were scaling the business a little bit and I had some positions open up and I'm like, oh my gosh, top of mind with this girl. I'm going to give her a call, got on an interview, perfect fit. She's now an employee of the company and she's excited to work for the company every single day because she already loved the brand and is obsessed with it. So for me, and I don't know if this is possible for everyone's situation, but for me, especially being a company that revolves around energy and energetics, like, I need that. And it's not even that we don't have an office where everyone comes to. We are all virtual, but energy is everything. We are all connected all the time. So it's really important to me that the people that work for our company love the brand and what we do, especially as much as I do.
Yeah. Well, and I think it goes by other terms out there too. It's like, it's the values and it's the, they believe in the mission and the purpose and intention behind it, right? There's all different types of words that we utilize that essentially mean the same thing energetically. But it's the belief that, they're just an extension of you, right? Like you said, it's not just somebody to get a paycheck. It's somebody that is like, oh no, this is how we do business. And this is how we show up for our clients. And we know how this is going to impact their lives and their world. And I think that transfers into any business when they can be an extension of you and your teachings and what you are as the CEO passing through to your team as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So we've talked a lot about the book, but the journal, excuse me, how can people stay connected with you? Do you have a free gift that they can learn more? Can they check out all of the things that you have to offer? Tell us all the things.
Yeah, so you could definitely go to maniscripting.com and we have this awesome quiz on there, which gives you solutions. It's called Take a Quiz of How to Manifest Faster, or learn how close you are to manifesting your desires. And with that, it's a really fun quiz that will tell you exactly where you're at, whether you're a beginner, an expert, and will give you tips and your results on what you can do next. So that's completely free on our website. And then I also have an awesome 15% off code for your listeners. If you use the code IMPACT at checkout, you get 15% off your journal order.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. I really can't wait to check out the journal because it, like you said, it really becomes a ritual and it becomes like something that you do daily. You can't just do it once a year. Yeah. And I would assume, all of your audience members that have used it in the past, once they really are consistent with it, that's when they start to see the crazy awesome results. And that journal probably helps them be more consistent because it's physically in their face.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, before we totally let you go, I would love for you to share with us, is there some type of takeaway or memorable note that you would like to leave our audience with?
I would love everyone to just really feel into and think about what they do to make their income. And whenever you feel that gut feeling, that intuitional hit, whether it's you're like, oh my gosh, I need to pivot again, or you get this idea or something that really excites you and inspires you, go after that. Follow the excitement, follow your gut feelings and intuition, because I promise you, in my entire life, I would never, ever, ever have thought that I would have a physical product company. And here I am today. And it's only because I literally followed my gut, followed that intuition, and I just went for it without knowing anything about it. Like I could have easily sat there and been like, well, I don't know how to manufacture a journal. I've never done that before. All my businesses have been online, and I wouldn't have this incredible company that's literally changing thousands of women's lives every single year. So my ask is when you get that idea, when you get that gut feeling, that intuitional hit, that was meant for you. And I just hope you take action on it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today, Samantha. And I want to also thank every single one of our listeners for joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm really excited for you to take all of these manifesting lessons, the resources, go pick up the journal, use that code, and start implementing and creating even more impact in your world today. So until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform.